Hello, everyone. In today's video, we'll take a look at the great author Dale Carnegie's book, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, which was published back in 1948, but is still incredibly relevant today. This work has changed lives of millions of people around the world, teaching them how to get rid of anxiety and live happily. There are so many different advices in this book about how to find peace, but in today's video, I will introduce you 10 most effective tips from Dale by my opinion. Be sure to watch the video to the end because you will find some useful advice here that will help you in life. The first, live for today. You probably hear this phrase often, but have you thought about it? Why living for today will help you become calmer? In today's society, feelings of anxiety visit a huge number of people. What is it that we worry about? What are the reasons that make us feel this unpleasant emotion? The answer is simple. It's all in our thoughts, and learning to control them, we can get rid of anxiety forever. And the first advice from Dale, live for today. Think about the events and plans only for this one day. Think about what's causing your anxiety. I'm pretty sure you'll name worries about an unknown future or regrets about moments in the past. So ask yourself when you start worrying again, am I giving up on life today that I'm worrying about the future? Or am I poisoning my day today with thoughts of the past? Remember, you can't change the past, and you can't predict the future 100%. So live for today. Think about the business of today. The second, which is the worst option? People tend to exaggerate the significance of an event, often quite unintentionally. The second tip from Dale is to answer yourself the question, what is the worst-case scenario? And what would you do if it happened? This exercise has two useful properties that will lower your anxiety level. One, you realize that the problem is not as big as you think it is. And two, you will think through in advance what you should do if this event should happen. You'll be more prepared, and your anxiety will recede into the background. The third, information overcomes anxiety. A lot of people get anxious before they make a decision. They have a grueling thought process that leads to uncontrollable anxiety. So what to do? You need to gather as much information as you can, positive and negative. To give an example, John is faced with an important choice of where to go to work. He has two options, but he cannot make a decision. After listening to this advice, he takes a sheet of paper and writes out the pros and cons of each job position. In the end, after gathering all the information, John realizes that job number 2 is a much more attractive option. This way, John will make the right choice and save himself the anxiety of choosing next time. The fourth, work is the best medicine. Oddly enough, this is one of the most effective pieces of advice. To prove it, think about two things right now at once. Think about tomorrow's business, and at the same time, think about a trip to Paris. Is it not working? That's right, because the human brain can only think about one thing at a time. To rid your brain of the thought of unpleasant events, load it with good activities. Here's a response from the great English politician Winston Churchill that became a famous quote, "I'm too busy. I have no time to worry." The fifth, soberly assess the situation. As stated above, man suffers greatly because of his thoughts. Sometimes our thinking goes beyond reality and gives a completely wrong assessment of the situation that has occurred. This is where a person gets anxious. Let me give the example of Stephanie, who owns a clothing store. All month the trade was profitable, but the last few days brought losses of $300. Stephanie is very upset by this, but she should assess the situation. Because of the net profit of $6,000, the lost $300 are only 5%. It's unpleasant, but a completely insignificant monthly loss that she doesn't have to worry about. So next time when you will worry about something, do soberly assess of the situation. Does it a really big problem? 6. I am rich. How often do you thank God for what you have? Do you realize how rich you are right now? If you are healthy, well-fed, housed, clothed, and have loving people around you, you are already happy, and you should be thankful for that. We have 90% of the good things in our lives, but often we just don't pay attention to them. So this advice from Dale, start focusing on the good things and be grateful for what you have. The seventh, remember that people don't think about you. How often do you get the thought of, what will the people around me think of me? I'm guessing very often. But now ask yourself, do you often think about someone who is not that close to me? Probably not. I doubt you betray the significance of something your colleague did yesterday. You've probably already forgotten about it. So do other people. They don't think positively or negatively of you. They have their own life, and they think about it. Realize that and stop worrying about other people's opinions. The eighth, get enough sleep. Simple advice, you probably thought. But think back to the day you slept in and how you looked at the world. Now remember the day after a sleepless night. It has already been proven by many studies that a person who has slept looks at the world more positively and attaches less importance to problems. So start simple, go to bed early. If falling asleep is difficult for you, increase your mental and physical activity during the day so you can fall asleep more easily. The ninth, learn to rest. Here's a nice tip from a self-development guru to help you get rid of anxiety. An overload of the mind, an overload of activities often leads to stress. So learn to relax, take breaks, and do not bring yourself to exhaustion. Remember that timely rest is an integral part of a happy life. If you don't want to be anxious, write a plan and make time for rest. The 10th, think positive. Rounding out the list of tips is a very important factor, the ability to think positively. In one point, I already said about gratitude. Now let's talk about positive thinking. It is an amazing skill to see the good in everything, and once one has mastered it, one will never know the feeling of anxiety again. It is an incredible trust God and all that is going on in life. Try to look for the positive in every event. It seems difficult, but just try. After all, every small fail is part of your rich experience that leads to success and happiness. If you have found something useful for yourself, please like the video. Subscribe to the channel because there will be a lot of useful information.